All right, all right, all right. No, that is not McConaughey. That is me, Gabriel Sarmiento, saying welcome to the second episode of our very nerdy and awesome podcast of the UNC Charlotte Investment Club. Today's date is March 23rd. And we have Brad Russell, the treasurer,
Yo.
Mimi, she has many hats. She does like 3 different jobs. So I'll let her introduce herself. We have Mark, a member, and Zaid, a wannabe leadership person who annoys me a lot, but I do love him. So with that said, let's get this party started. Actually, Mimi, go ahead and introduce yourself. How many jobs do you have?
Um, I don't even know. I have a billion.
Have a
I'm
bill.
the director. I'm the director of communications for the club. I handle social medias. I make posters. I edit videos. I do a billion other things.
And
I
boss
don't
Richard
know.
around.
Right, right, right. And she was not a DEI hire. She was the best person for the job.
Exactly.
Here at the investment club, we do not believe in DEI. So if that frazzles your feathers, tough cookies. Okay, we believe in merit and character. Mimi is literally the best person for the job, and I just feel lucky to have her. I really do.
Oh,
So
that's so
with that
sweet.
said, don't all. It's not an all moment. So with that said, Mark, this is Mark's first time. How you doing, Mark?
Doing good, doing good. Happy to be here.
I'm happy that you're here. Mark is a fellow old man. Was going back to college. Mark was kind of like a financial advisor in his civilian days. So Mark joined the club just because he couldn't let he couldn't stay away from finance talk. So he joined the club, and we're glad to have you, Mark. Brad graduates this December, and Zaid is just a wannabe tycoon trader, entrepreneur, Bitcoin, and everything under the sun kind of guy. Welcome, Zaid. Glad you're here. All right.
Nice to have you. Thank you.
So, guys, we're doing this on Zoom, and I have the luxury of looking at the market every single flipping day, right? And as you guys know, I've always been bullish, and I called out like this is not the crash. We are probably at the bottom. I said that last week, and I called out SMCI as a trade, and I have been right, as I've always am on SMCI. And I'll say it again. I believe the bottom is in. The bottom for the SPY seems to be around 550. So without me blathering on, what do you guys think? Who think? Actually, let me ask you this: who thinks we have not hit the bottom? Don't let me influence you. Who's more bearish? Who thinks there's still more downside to go?
I think there's a chance that there's some more downside, but not too much more. If it would, it'd be more of a retest, maybe a little sweep at the bottom of it. But then, other than that, I think we're right at the bottom, roughly speaking.
I think you missed your calling in politics. That was such a non-answer. I think you're an expert at it. Mark, what do you think?
Well, I guess I'd refine his answer then. Uh, Outside of any like black swan events, like things we haven't seen yet, like unexpected retaliatory tariffs, or suddenly a throw blew up somewhere in the Middle East, I think the market is trying to correct itself.
Okay, let me ask the question a different way. You have a gun to your head. You have to make a choice, and you only stay alive if you're right. Are you saying the market is the bottom is in, or are you saying the bottom is not in? In the next 3 months, I'll put time limit on it because obviously I don't mean forever. For the next 3 months.
Okay. We'll just say it's we've already hit bottom.
Okay, Mark thinks the bottom is in. All right, Zaid, you have a gun to your head. You need to say something. What are you saying?
If I had to choose, I'd say we're more in the bottom area.
You're saying we've hit the bottom already?
Yeah.
All right, Mimi.
It would be weird of me to just not ask for a background since, I have a very novice mind in investing. So can I have a bit of a background on what's going on?
Sure. Let me get Brad's answer first. Brad, what do you think?
I think we've seen the bottom. I think this is the bounce.
Okay. Okay, so Mimi, the S&P 500 corrected exactly 10.34% from its peak, right? 10% or more is called a correction. And then you have deeper corrections which have other names. The market definitely corrected because of all the uncertainty. And you know what? We just had a great talk by Professor Pernarander. And remember when we said a couple things. One, how the market is forward looking. And he also said that the market hates uncertainty, right? Remember? So Trump's tariffs is the number one thing of uncertainty. And then there's a lot of other little things going on, but the main thing is the tariffs, where the market has dropped where it has. So the market dropped, but then it went up. I'll tell you exactly what it went up from its low point. It went up
2.5.
almost 4%. Almost 4%, right? So what I'm asking you is it going to go down and make a new lower low? We actually learned lower lows in our weekly meeting today. Technical analysis, in case anyone who's not in the club is wondering. Do you think it's going to go down and make a lower low, right? Or do you think the low is in and we go up to make new all-time highs? All-time high is 611. We're at 563.
I'd say the low is in. We've hit our bottom.
You feel the low is in. All right. I'm not gonna question you too hard because you are the most novice. I'm just happy that you're here. We'll talk about some other things that will get spicy. All right. So everyone agrees that the low is in. Okay. Okay, the low is in. All right. So now, what Zaid, what is your favorite stock? If the low is in, that means we're on the rebound. What is your favorite stock to get into? If you had to pick one stock to get into, what do you think has the best chance of a rebound? That's not a penny stock, by the way.
Personally, this is a personal take, and so far it has been very right since I told you I made this order. The 2x Ether Grayscale ETF. I can already tell by your face your response to that.
No,
But,
I didn't hear you. You went in and out. Say it again.
The 2x Ether Grayscale ETF.
What's the ticker for that?
I think it's. Let me check. I actually do not know the ticker off the top of my head because I just switched.
You're a loser. Brad, what's your favorite stock? That isn't a leveraged ETF.
Anyone who saw episode 1 probably knows what I'm gonna say. Definitely
AAL.
Yeah.
Yeah, American Airlines. I was hoping we were going to talk about that.
I'm happy to report, since the first episode of our podcast, American bounced, and we're currently up 6.75% from previous recording date. So I'm really happy. I think that is the bounce. I don't think it'll go lower than there. So I really think the ship is turned around on this, and that's the one I'm going with.
American Airlines from the bottom is up 8.89%. It went down 45% from its top at $19. Is currently at $11.39.
Yeah, my absolute floor for this was $9, but I think we're going up from here, so I'm glad it didn't go that low.
Okay. Mark, do you have a favorite horse?
I think Mark got disconnected.
It's okay. I'm asking you now.
I like industrials on this one. If we're talking recovery, so brought it up earlier, General Electric.
Oh, GE. All right.
Yeah.
You like GE. Yeah, GE. Well, we are talking recovery. So the funny thing about GE is that it's not really down. The all-time high for GE is 211.87, and it's at 204. It's down from its absolute high. It's only down 3.5%. So,
Yeah.
unless you think it's just going to rally up strong, it's not really a rebound play.
Well, there's room for that. There's growth in renewables. That's kind of a given, but also I'm a big transport geek. So these short haulers,
Like your
regional
shirt though.
airlines, they use up their engines faster, and we're seeing growth in that. So I'm just piggybacking off of AAL. So if they use up those engines faster, they're going to need more, and GE's like right there waiting for them.
Did you hear me? I like your shirt because you said geek.
Oh,
Star
oh,
Wars.
thank you.
Yeah, I'm a fellow Star Wars geek. Mimi, do you have a favorite? I know you're the most novice, but you're also a person, so you have a favorite company. What do you think?
Well, my favorite companies I'm actually not too sure simply because I'm still trying to learn how to, analyze companies and see which one's the best to, invest in and all that. So as of right now, I have no idea.
Okay, that's fine. Not going to be hard on you. Mine is, simple, is SMCI. So why do I like SMCI so much? Well, it's because they are down so much, right? They are down so much, and all of the reasons that they went down in the first place is behind them now, right? So they now have a new accounting team. They're not getting kicked off the Nasdaq, right? And they had an earnings report, so we know that their actual business is healthy. And just to put this into context, from its peak, they were down 86%. They had a high of $121 a share and went all the way down to 1650. Also technically, right? And we just learned this to date, from their bottom, they have made a clear uptrend with higher highs and higher lows. So right now in this uptrend, their high is $66. They're currently at 42. I'm going to go ahead and call it, guys. I think within the next 3 months, they're going to get to $80. I'm going to go ahead and call it. You know
3
what?
months.
Give me more. I'm going to need, okay, to get to $80. That's basically 100%.
Yeah.
I need, yeah, they're going to move fast, Brad. Give me, okay, you know what? I'll make it more realistic. I will say they're going to get back to $65 in the next 3 months. That's what I'll say.
55.
Yeah. Marcus, you have like a big truck in your background? What is it? I hear something. You guys hear it too? Sounds
Yeah,
like
I
a
do.
fart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting a call, so sorry.
Oh, it's a vibration.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So SMCI is my pony. But I also like hymns, etc.
Have you looked at Roku yet?
I hate Roku. I never look at them. I'll look at them right now.
Look at their chart now.
Okay. What prepare me. What do you want me to see?
I think there's a high possibility for upside coming.
Okay. Yeah. So you think the bottom is in and they're gonna keep going up. Okay. I'd have to look at the fundamentals to corroborate that, but I think they're a really shitty business. So I doubt that I will like their fundamentals, but
Moving averages are whacked.
yeah, I'll look at it later.
I have a question.
Yo,
How would you guys know like the bottom is the bottom? How you know like that's like the
we don't know. These are guesses.
know?
No,
Okay.
we don't know.
Yeah, that's the problem.
They're
Oh,
technical analysis is an educated guess, right?
okay.
Yeah. No, we don't know.
I'm thinking there's like a math behind this. The whole time you guys are guessing.
I'm not Nostradamus. No, there's no math behind it.
Best you can do is make an educated guess,
Yeah,
honestly.
And hope that you're right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I've been wrong many times, but luckily I am right more than I am wrong, so that's a good thing. Okay, well let's fuck it. Let's spice this up. We don't have to talk about only finance, as long as it's like somewhere along the realm of finance, I'm going to spice this up. And I'm not doing it for clicks. I'm just doing it for conversation, right? Because I want to test your brains, everyone. I want to see what the F you think you're thinking about. So as you know, I am a fellow for the Braver Angels Discourse and Debate Alliance, right? Where we bring topics to colleges, and the goal is to have discourse, but not fighting and wanting to tear the person apart. We want to understand, right? And the last one I did, which emotion always gets in it, was about DEI, right? I guess I'm so one track mind, I can't help it. I even started mentioning it at the beginning of this thing. So Zaid, you weren't there. Mark, you weren't there. Brad was there. Brad actually spoke for DEI. Mimi, you weren't there. So Zaid, I'm going to start with you, right? I'm not going to give you any context. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Do you think that it is? And the way I'm going to tie this into the market is I'm going to correlate it with efficiency, best practice, and production of any company, right? Do you think diversity, equity, and inclusion is something that increases the efficiency of a company? Let's say a company that's in the S&P 500.
Now that's I believe that's questionable on what department.
Nope,
And I can
it's
and I
not.
can back that.
So in
No,
general,
I can't. No, and I'll back my answer. So I had a really good marketing professor. His name is Professor Seckel. He was like head of marketing for all these big companies. He's the reason that he found out. He was like, these soccer moms don't give a fuck about their kids' nutrition. They just want a quick meal they can hand them. He did the Lunchables. He did Crustables. Lots of big campaigns. So in the marketing segment only, I'm not going to say anything that requires skill, knowledge of some kind of expertise to do your job, which not saying marketing doesn't, but marketing aspect, having a diverse team allows you to better market out to more diverse populations.
that's valid. I really like that answer, Zaid. You really surprised me. Before I give you my 2 cents, I need to hear what Mark thinks.
What marketing?
What?
Oh, marketing.
No, what Mark thinks.
Will it move the needle?
Yeah,
It
will it move the needle?
won't. It probably won't, but it would
Up
probably
or
also
down?
improve.
Up or down? Will it move the needle up?
I'd say it goes either way. It depends on the kind of company. If you're more of an international company dealing with different cultures that have different preferred communication and work styles, it might work.
You're a
But if you're a
libertarian, aren't you?
predominantly domestic firm, I don't think it's going to affect it much.
Mark, are you a libertarian or a centrist? Centralist?
I am a centrist now. I used to flirt with being libertarian. I started out as a Republican.
Yeah, your answers are very middle of the road. It seems to be the theme. Mimi, you being a black woman, I can't wait to hear your answer. Plus, I'll know if you hate me or not hate me for all the things that I say all the time.
Well, for one, I don't hate you. I will say that, like Mark was saying, it really depends sometimes on the type of company it is, whether if it's like an international company, if you need that range of like people. But if you're talking like domestic here, like in America, honestly, I don't think it does much. And I have seen from like at first, I did disagree with you, Gabe, but I've come to realize that like, for example, at my workplace, I feel like it's sometimes forced to have different people come in and it doesn't do anything at all. Honestly, I feel like it doesn't do much for a company. It just gives them like that title like of, oh, we're like very diverse. Like I hate when things are forced. I like when things are like natural. So I appreciate when like an employer is like, oh, we're not gonna hire you because like, we want more people who are black in our company. We're hiring you because, you actually have something that we can utilize, in your skill set. So yeah.
Okay, I like that a lot. Brad, for the debate, you were for it, but I kind of forced you to, I put you in there. You did me a favor. So I actually don't know how you really think about it, Brad. So you have the floor. What's your thoughts on diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workforce
Yeah. Like Mark
in
said, there
America?
could be edge cases to where it's more helpful than others, but overall and broadly speaking, personally, I think you should just hire the best candidate for the job. You can look at that on paper as well as their character, and then how they carry themselves. So look at all their skills, their abilities, and then how they present themselves, how they carry themselves, and who's the best all-around pick for the job is probably the person you should hire. If they're contributing to your company's diversity, that's cool too. If they're not, then I don't think that's a shortcoming. Um, yeah, just hire the best person for the job is probably what I think.
Zaid, right after this short thing we're talking about, we're going to go into Bitcoin. I actually was very excited to go into Bitcoin. So turn that frown upside down. Let's just get through this, okay? Because you look like you're pouting a little bit. You're actually
No,
you're very
I
funny.
had a long night last night, and now I've been doing homework and cleaning the house all day.
Okay,
So,
okay. Yeah, sure. Tell it to the judge. I don't care. All right. So here are my thoughts, guys. When you logically deduce what the question was, right? And you understand what DEI is, there comes a point where you have to make a decision. And this is the decision you're making, whether you know it or not. You are either prioritizing perceived fairness, or merit-based hiring, right? At the end of the day, the most fair thing is that the best person for the job get the job. In a perfect world, that is the case, regardless of race, religion, creed, etc. When you force, because that's what DEI has devolved into. Notice I said devolved, not evolved. When you have these DEI managers and you have these consultants, etc., and you are forcing a metric that people have no control of what they are, this particular metrics, and I'm talking about race, right? When race is the metric, or even, and yes, it was a metric, your sexual preference, right? When you base hiring on something like that and not who gets the best person for the job, then the logical deduction from that is that you will have a less efficient workforce. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. 1 + 1 = 2. And that's not even the worst part about it. The worst part about it is that you are doing a form of racism. You are blocking someone else who is better suited for the job because they aren't the correct race. Now, you might say that some races have it harder in America, and yeah, everyone is going to think that I'm a white person by saying this. I'm actually Cuban, born and raised with food stamps and Section 8. Okay. I don't believe that America is a racist country. Are there racist people? Yes. I don't believe that America is a racist country. As a matter of fact, DEI is unneeded because we have laws that don't allow you to be racist, right? But when you enforce DEI, it's funny, you are actually giving them the ability to be racist. And when I was in the discussion, one of the best quantifiable examples of this happening was at Harvard. At Harvard, Asians and whites, but mostly Asians, had to score significantly higher than African Americans and people who were in the LGBT community, etc. I mean, even the fact that that is a metric fucking blows my mind, but I digress. It proved, and it only got proved because it had to come out because Harvard got sued. It proved that they would only let Asians and white people in if they scored significantly higher than other groups, meaning their bar to get in was so high in order to let others in. I mean, can anyone tell me that that is okay? Any of you? Can any of you tell me that in the pursuit of fairness, that is fair?
Yeah, no, probably not. No.
I don't think that's really fair.
I don't think it's fair. I don't
More
think
than that, it's a waste of resources. But like you're bringing in people, and let's just be colorblind about this, right? Like if you're bringing in people that on paper couldn't hack it, and they're taking up space and resources that could have gone to person who could,
well,
right? Then you just wasted it.
I'm not even catastrophizing and say they couldn't hack it. I
Oh
am
no,
just
no, I'm
saying
not saying that,
I'm
right?
just
But
saying if there's limited spaces,
yeah,
the best people should get the space. That's all I'm saying.
yeah.
Yeah, honestly, that's just why I didn't apply to Harvard, just would have been too hard.
Me,
Yeah.
I'm just too
Kidding.
broke.
But I mean, it's something you have to consider about this, no matter what side you're on, is I mean, there's been so many companies this year that are rolling back DEI initiatives, like really big names. One that really sticks out is Google and Disney. GE
Disney? I
is
wasn't
on
aware
the
of
list.
Disney.
Huh?
Are you guys aware of their flop at the box office, the Snow White remake?
No, I
I
don't
don't
give a
watch
shit about
anything
that
new
movie.
Disney anyways.
I didn't know they had a remake.
Yeah. What'd you say, Zaid?
I don't watch anything that's new Disney.
Yeah. I mean, oh my God. Like, I don't want to make this podcast too
They had to
political.
remake that movie, I think, 2 different times.
I think we've already crossed the line of political, so I'm going to try to, get it back. But
I mean,
you
let's
know what?
put
I'm
it
not
back
going
to
to say it.
Disney stock,
I
right? Like
mean,
Yeah, I'm not
the
going to
free
say
how many
market sorts a
different
lot of stuff
ways
out,
can you
and the
tell the
fact
same
that these
story?
companies are pulling back just is showing that, you
Yeah.
know,
well, Costco, their stock is all time highs, and they reaffirmed the fact that they're going to keep DEI a part of their hiring. So see, it's not in a bubble.
no.
Dave, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think in like any way, I just want to know your opinion. Do you think in like any way DEI was like beneficial?
I'm glad you asked me that question. Here are my thoughts on DEI. DEI on paper is a great thing, just like socialism. On paper, it looks good. Socialism looks good on paper. DEI looked good on paper. DEI was supposed to, and it's been around for over 60 years, Mimi. It is not brand new. Did you know that?
I had no idea
Yeah,
actually.
it's been around for a very, very long time. And on paper, it looks good because what it did is DEI is a great thing when you are in a known, unequal, unequitable environment, right? I don't believe America is that today. I can't tell you when it became less racist and more equitable, but I believe that today America is the most equitable, the most equality for all sexes and races in its history, and yet it's like that high maintenance girlfriend who's just never fucking happy. She just always wants more and more and more and more. And I believe that, and since you're asking me, but I do care about you, Mimi, so I want you to know this. I am also very much against modern day feminism. I think it is a waste of time. And the way that I correlated is because it's not needed anymore. I'm not saying it never was needed. I'm saying that there is no point to it today. None. We are the most equal, the most fair thing ever. And if you're going to say, well, women make 88 cents for every dollar a man, well, no, that's not true. That's been debunked, right? Everything has been debunked, and I just don't agree with it. And then we can get into social norms, and we can get into roles. And I'm not going to get into that because this is only an hour podcast. But I have a lot of beliefs, some that I think you might agree with, Mimi, because you are very logical. But I also think that you won't agree with me on some, and that's fine. I would love to talk to you outside of this, so I could tell you all of them.
You should. I do want to hear more, honestly.
Yeah, sure. I would love to. So, thank you guys. Sorry I took it down this rabbit hole. I just was really curious what you guys think. And I learned that Mark will always give you a middle of the road answer. I learned that Zaid errs on the side of caution in his answers. Brad is somewhat truthful, and Mimi just wants to understand and learn. So that's what I learned from you guys. You guys probably think I'm the biggest douchebag on campus, and that's okay. And
I mean, you said it.
yeah, sometimes I am. Sometimes I am. All right. Well, Zaid, now we're going to talk about Bitcoin. Zaid, in the Discord, did you see the video that I wanted you to watch? Did you watch it?
Did you send it to me yesterday?
Oh my God, you haven't even seen it?
I
It is
don't know.
such a good video. So here, I'll break it down for you. Apparently, in November of 2024, some guy who has a very great resume said that on March 18th, I think, I don't remember the date, it was March something, it just happened, that Bitcoin will be at exactly this number. He said that, and mind you, this guy had a really good resume. He was like a professional trader for Solomon & Brothers, and he has a really good resume. Do you see the video, Zaid? Because I want you to watch it after this, at least. Do you see it?
Yeah, I saw the video in the chat.
Okay, you got to watch it. It's really interesting. But basically, he said, and would you guess what, guys? To the fucking penny, Bitcoin closed at what he said it would be. So before I say anything else, what do you guys think of that?
Well, when was it posted? How far back?
November of 2024.
Damn.
Watch
Yeah,
the video.
impressive.
The video is super interesting. So now, what makes the video so interesting is if you are a Bitcoin bull, like I know Zaid and I are, he said the next level that will hit. Are you ready for this, Zaid?
I'm ready.
444,200 and something and 75 cents
By when?
this year.
That's crazy. I really hope
Honestly,
true.
that was in my range. I thought Bitcoin would go somewhere between 300 on the bear side and bull side of 700, 800
So
for the year.
People must have thought he was crazy with that call out in November because Bitcoin was still up back then.
You want to know why he made that call?
I have no idea.
You got to watch the video. It is so fucking cool. So remember how a couple weeks ago, you weren't there, Mimi. Either were you, Mark, but you were Zaid and you were Brad. We went over Fibonacci retracement levels.
Yeah.
Right. So Fibonacci retracement levels uses the basically the numbers that are thought to be like prophetical numbers and percentages. And to break that down even more, you guys remember who Tesla was? Not the current Tesla, but
Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, Nikola Tesla. You guys remember him? Many think of him as the smartest man ever to walk.
Yeah.
I still think that it was the guy who discovered calculus that was the smartest guy ever, but he's like a close second. Having a brain fart. Who did discover calculus? What was his name? Anybody know?
I don't
Leibniz.
remember.
I think it was
No,
Leibniz.
no.
No?
Newton and Gottfried William.
It's Humphrey. Humphrey.
No, it's
I just looked it up.
no. Anyway, it'll come to
I
me.
think you're ignoring Bruce McLaren. I really like him.
No. Anyway, not to get off topic. So he further says that because of the 3-6-9 principle, right? And you got to watch the video. He says it so much better than I can. Um, he found this, and you know what else also happened from when he made this statement to it? He also called the current correction and betted on it. He shorted the market and made millions of dollars. This is after his call out, and he was so sure of it that he shorted the market at the perfect time. It's crazy. You got to give this guy credit, because it's either luck twice or he got something going on. So if you're a Bitcoin bull, it's really exciting. It's just really exciting to get some like fun affirmation like that. I do think that we are getting into a very strong rebound. I do think the bottom is in, which is why I am not selling covered calls on my positions. Brad, I know you sold some. I'm not, because I think the rebound is going to be, really aggressive. So I'll sell covered calls later, because if I sell them now, then I cap my upside. But I really want you guys to watch that video. It's not too long, but it's really fucking cool and interesting. Anyway, you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, dude, if Bitcoin over 4x this year from its 4x from its all-time highs, that'd be crazy. And I really hope it happens, because I got chips on the table. But yeah,
I
I'd
have
love to see more of
MSTR,
that.
which is
Yeah,
I
what
bought
return do
shares
you
this
think?
week. Yeah.
What return do you think MSTR would bring at a 4x Bitcoin price?
well,
5 fucking million.
it's leveraged. So let's compare.
See if there's a calculator for
I
MSTR.
do. There's a comparison here. I'll share my screen.
Yeah, I think MSTR is a really good buy right now. I bought earlier this week because calls are so expensive. I just can't.
All right, can you guys see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So all right. So MSTR was always above Bitcoin because it's just that. It's a leverage play. But at its peak, MSTR went to actually I can do this. There we go. I'll just do that. You know what? Okay. All right. So at its peak, MSTR was up 492%, while Bitcoin was up 152%. So that means 492 minus 152. It was up an additional 340%. So if Bitcoin goes up fucking 400% from here, man, that's
Nearing like
that's
1,000%.
that's some volatile math right there. That's interesting. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, usually there's lots of shit to go about, but the market is kind of boring right now. We have time for one more fun topic. Do you guys have anything at all?
We could talk about how Michael Saylor sold coins so he can buy up soon, or sold shares. That's not really a huge conversation.
What do you mean he sold shares? He
Uh,
didn't sell
he,
Bitcoin, right?
no, he sold shares of MSTR to rally more money to buy Bitcoin.
But what do you mean? He diluted shareholders by
I believe so.
like a convertible.
I just saw it like today or yesterday.
Well, yeah. I mean, I hope he buys here because this is the bottom. I think it is. I really do hope he figures out a way to buy more right here. That'll be great.
Yeah, I believe
Convertible
that's
notes. Yeah. If he can do a convertible note where he literally pays them 0%, but basically gives them like a really good call option, because that's what convertible notes at 0% are. That'll be really good for MSTR. Yeah.
Really good until it's not.
No, it's never not. If Bitcoin keeps going up, it's never not good. Like, tell me why until it's not. The only time it's not good is if Bitcoin goes down.
Well, eventually, there's so much dilution happening that
There's not as
it
much
can
as
be
you think.
bad.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. So first off, the quote unquote dilution on a convertible note that is exercised doesn't happen until the exercise date. The last ones that he did were 5 years in the future. 5 years.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's basically like it's like getting lent money and then you get a call that expires in 5 years, but is 60% higher than where it is right now, strike price. So what that means is if the strike price was $100 strike price, here's what that means. If I'm MSTR, right, and Brad, you want this convertible note, I ask you to lend me $1 billion, and for that $1 billion, I will give you the right but not the obligation to get shares of MSTR, but at $160. And for that loan that you're giving me, I'm going to pay you 0%. Now, if 5 years comes and MSTR is not above $160, well, then I'll just pay you back the billion that you lent me. But let's say MSTR is at $500. Well, then I'm not paying you back. Your money is now buying shares at the strike price of $160, which you will happily do because the price is currently at 500. Do you see how that works?
Yeah. But I mean, I'm not planning on holding MSTR for 5 years, so it's an irrelevant point. Yeah, but if they underperform, then there's going to be a lot of cash outflow, especially if they have a lot of notes expiring in the same range. And if a lot of convert all at once, you might see a little bit of issues, but I mean, that's
No,
down the line.
even if they do all convert at once, the percent dilution is not as much as you think, first of all. Second of all, if you did a convertible, you have no choice but to hold it for 5 years. So I'm talking a hypothetical here. Third of all, it is, again, I'll say this again, it is only a bad thing if Bitcoin does not go up. If Bitcoin goes down, then it is catastrophic for MSTR.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
just like it's a leveraged play on Bitcoin on the upside, it's also a leveraged play on Bitcoin on the downside. Leverage down.
And if Bitcoin doesn't do good, then the notes are irrelevant because MSTR would also be tanking anyways.
Right. The notes will be irrelevant and they'd be forced to pay the people back in cash, whatever they lent them.
So the stock would be down a lot and they'd have to pay a whole bunch in cash, which
yes,
I mean, that's
yes,
really bad for them.
very
But
bad.
now it doesn't matter.
Very bad.
Kind of the thing, I wouldn't be long term on this company,
well,
but I
that
don't
means
think
you're not
anyone is.
that means you're not bullish on Bitcoin.
I am. I'm just
No, you're
saying
not.
there.
You're not. If you were a Bitcoin maximalist or even just bullish, right? That means you wouldn't worry about this because you're right. It will be very bad, but only if it goes down. It is very good if it goes up, and it is very bad if it goes down. There is no middle road.
I just don't want to be long term in MSTR. It's just there's too much volatility and they have a lot riding on the line with those notes that I think for short term it's really good, but long term I'd rather be in the coin.
I'll tell you why your thinking is misplaced. MSTR, have you ever heard of a leverage ETF? Zaid was telling
Yeah.
us about a
I was
leverage.
about to compare that, but it's not exactly the same.
No,
But
it's
yeah,
better.
I see where you're coming from.
It's better. It's having a perfect leverage ETF because it has all of the bonuses, the pluses, and none of the downside. A leverage ETF is typically leveraged with options. So a leveraged ETF goes down over time, not up, right? It's leveraged because they literally sell convertible notes at 0% in order to buy the underlying asset, which is Bitcoin. But it's not leveraged with options, so therefore it doesn't go down. It correlates to the price action of Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes down, it goes down more, and if Bitcoin goes up, it goes up more. So in order to buy that's why logically MSTR is a better play than Bitcoin itself, Brad. So that's why I tell people, if you're bullish on Bitcoin, MSTR is a better buy. If you're unsure, then don't get into it at all, because in my opinion, there is no middle ground. You either are smart or you're not. If you're bullish, you want to make the most amount of money possible. Did we
I
lose?
mean, I guess I have to say I agree with you because I literally bought shares this week. So, I mean, I guess
Good.
I have to agree.
Good. All right, we got to close out here, guys. Any last comments?
Um.
I would like
Oh,
just
Zach,
real
you can go.
quick.
You can go. You can go.
Real quick, he sold 711 million of preferred stock, and he's going to be buying within the next day or two.
I didn't even know they had preferred stock.
I need to read it because what do you mean? He sold like him personally?
The company sold 8.5 million shares of its perpetual Strife preferred stock,
Right. So are you meaning
raising
they created
711
shares?
million.
They basically did a I gotta read it because you just they have to had created shares, which is dilution, right? In order, it's like a capital raise, basically. Did they do a capital raise?
I don't think so, just because the wording of they sold 10% of the.
I'd have to read it. I'll read it and then I'll hit you up in the Discord.
Me
All right,
think-
Mimi, what you got?
I was just gonna say if I could do my job here and just record you guys waving at the camera for our Instagram story.
Okay.
Just say hi.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
It's gonna be muted, so you're not.
Like and subscribe.
I don't give a fuck if you like or subscribe.
You said,
Dude, I was our first viewer of the podcast channel. I get claimed to that. I was the first viewer of the
I was the
podcast
first
on
follow of the Spotify channel.
YouTube. Yeah, I
Yeah, well, I created it, bitches.
don't.
But I made the Gmail.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Group effort. Mark, you have anything?
I'm still on the fence, like whether I should get on Bitcoin. I don't even understand it.
Yeah, it sucks being a middle of the road kind of person.
If you
huh?
don't understand it, like Norander said, then you shouldn't invest in it. But
Yeah, that's why I got no position in it.
If
That's
you look into
perfectly
it, you
fair.
should invest everything.
Yep.
into it.
For context, Mark, up until about 4 months ago, I was very bearish because it didn't make logical sense. It wasn't until I did a deep dive where I had the epiphany. Now I'm a Bitcoin maximalist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I could pick your brain later on, like what made you make that shift.
Damn, you should have done that in this episode.
I think
Oh,
one
being a-
Then
really
we
being a
have
maximalist
episode
is-
3. What do you mean?
What'd you
one
say?
really
Jake?
good point of being bullish on Bitcoin is the fact that the FASB has adopted it as an asset on financial statements, which is huge because they're like notoriously stubborn on everything.
Yep,
If the
that's
FASB's in on it and the SEC's in on it, it's hard for me to not be in on it.
yep. You gotta see what the world is doing, not what they're saying. But all right,
And,
guys. That concludes today's podcast. For maybe those 2 people who are bored and listening to us, join the investment club. Thanks, everyone. Hope you had a good time. I did. Remember, DEI is bad. Equality is here. God bless America. Bye-bye.